Good morning, my friends. Welcome to Words from a Friend podcast. I'm your host, Marty Carey, and this is the podcast that follows my book, Words from a Friend, a daily guide to a purposeful life, available at Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. We are on a 365-day inner journey, and I'm so happy to have you along. We are on day 41 of that journey, and it is the February 10th message. Oh, no, it isn't. Sorry, it's not. That was yesterday. We are on February 11th. Personal power. This is funny because I just kind of skimmed through it and I said, we talked about this maybe last week or so, just a little inside info. It's called Personal Power. The very first book I read from cover to cover was not in school. So true. At 23 years old, I was a classic underachiever just out for a good time. Oh man, this is so funny. Lots of laughs and debauchery. Some of this is still very true. But like most, I always seem to have the desire for more life, right? For more. Just kind of like, you're here. What's the fun stuff to do? I was in the mall waiting for my buddy. Remember this? Latham Circle Mall. My buddy Jimmy, he was finishing up his purchase of pinstriped pleated jeans at the world-famous Chess King. This was probably, 23 years old, circa 1987. I went into the bookstore nearby and noticed a book on with the very title I'm writing about today, Personal Power by Tony Robbins, the world-famous life coach. I read the back cover, and I was immediately interested in the whole premise. I was amazed to see myself at the checkout counter purchasing an actual book that I wanted to read. I was amazed to see myself there. To this day, the words in this book carry me forward because of the truth they revealed. What is personal power and how do we get it? Right? What is personal power? We talk about it every day. The book said that we already have this personal power, and that in approaching life from a higher, more positive perspective and actions, we were able to succeed in every area of our life. Success in the human world, success is harmony and peace and prosperity, and if you can bring those things into your life, all of those things, by using your light. You're going to have that darkness in there wanting to, mess things up and make you pissed off all the time. But, people do it. Tony Robbins does it. He said so in Personal Power. So, and that's why I bought the book. Okay? I was amazed to see myself at the checkout counter. To this day, I use those words. What is personal power? The book said we already have it, and approaching life from a higher perspective. I thought of it as potential magic when I read the cover, and it turns out that exactly what the results of using this approach feels like. Magic. Light. It's lightheartedness, right? You're going through it as lightly as you can, And, like I said, as lightly as I can. I bought this book because I was an anxious son of a gun. And I'm like, this personal power thing, how can I overcome this fear that I have all the time about doing things? And then I still take the step, still grow, still do it. That's what this book teaches you. Still do it. Don't let it shrink you. Fear wants to shrink us. It wants to shrink us into a little corner, right? No, we're much bigger than that. It's a little nothingness that you learn to get past by doing what it says you can't do. Not in a bad way, but in a good way, where you're growing and saying, don't bother. And you say, no, I have a personal power now that I didn't realize was actually me, right? The forever me is my personal power. Okay. Let's see. It's certainly a power we need to develop and nurture, but it's a power that is our natural state of being. It's the power of our spirit, the invisible part of us that animates the outer shell, that animates the ghost in the machine. That ghost, that's all your power in there, and all the stuff we've kind of picked up as we were here. It's like pioneers of planet Earth, learning from everybody else who we are, and all that other stuff. We can go into that telephone booth and come out with a cape on once we realize the power we have. Big S on our chest. All right? You have it. And you find it when you say, I can. I can do. I can. Okay. The truth is that we are all unlimited and we have no bounds except those we impose upon ourselves. It's learning to surpass the liar in our head and go forward with courage and the conviction of true limitless abilities. I'm not saying you can, fly. You know what I mean? We have those limits as human limits, gravity, right? But you never know what we can do. Well, they say we only use 10% of our actual brain capacity. Well, it's the light that turns out. It's going to turn the rest of it on. Consciousness that'll turn that rest of that on. Our job is to align with that in gratitude. Right? We talk about it every day. Our personal power is found in gratitude for all the things all the gifts we already have, all the prosperity we already have, right? All of the beautiful things in our life that we already have. That keeps your elevator up in your personal power. Keeps it up in your personal power. Remembering. And then all the time you want to bitch and moan and complain about, your life. Somebody else is looking at your life and saying, oh my God, if I had that life, that's where envy and jealousy and all that stuff is just not good. You got to look at yourself. You have that power already in there. Your shine. It's your shine. You know what your shine looks like. You know what your shine feels like, right? Do more of it. Keep that light on, right? The darkness has had its day. Right? Every time it wants to creep in there, you nip it in the bud like we were talking yesterday. That's part of your personal power. Nipping. Nipping. All right? So when you begin to practice living by your true nature from the inside out, from your heart center out, radiating that as just your personal energy field, your calling card. I come in peace and, let's have a good time. We're here to share and grow and, laugh. As much as possible, stay in that zone. That's, you feel good there. And then everybody else will too. And next thing you know, you got a boatload of fun. Boatload of smiles instead of boatload of complaining and moaning. Okay. You see, in order to live a powerful life, it's the energies of this power we must exhibit outwardly every day. The energies of love, kindness, generosity, humor, collaboration, and most importantly, forgiveness. Somebody makes a mistake and you're judging them, hey, that's good, we got that right. Or somebody's judging you for a mistake you made. You're waiting for a little apology. You're not going to get it, mate. You might, so you got to forgive anyway. Just get to move on, because it's like otherwise you're harboring negativity when you don't have to. Cut it loose. You're taking things personally. That's your ego. Your soul just goes, slough it off. Consider the source, right? Sleeping, just in conditioned self. Everybody's just doing what they know to do. So you can't take things personally, So at any rate, you'll use the outer, the outer, oh my God, let me start over on that one. I'm sorry. You'll use the outer power energies such as perseverance, determination, and faith to get your goals and dreams, but they will all be fueled from this inner place of truth rather than the outer lower energies of I can't, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, victim, right? It's our ego gets us, the false self, the one that is not our best self-talk. It's our worst self-talk. It's not real. You are a beautiful, bright soul. Beautiful in every way. And we cover over that with our own opinions, our own horrible self-talk. We talk about others in that way. And so we darken over our own heart talking about others in that way, right? Those others are your family and friends from the other side that you may have a different opinion on here at planet Earth because of where you came from or what your beliefs are, your old beliefs, your old baggage that Got to examine that old baggage. It's still serving it, serving your relationships, serving any kind of personal growth. Not if you're stuck in your ego, it isn't. You're stuck in old patterns. You're stuck in old ways that you use your personal power to shoot them out. Like we talk about every day, okay? Every day. And every day you hear this is a reminder, okay? And every day we talk about the same answer. It's just another reminder, because this earth, this place, wants to remind you of who you are not. They want to remind you of who you are not, right? Your lower self. Yeah, come on, let's, get involved with this, and you can just shine. You can just shine as your highest purpose here. That's it. That's your highest purpose. In whatever you do, your unique way, your way, not anybody else's way. Shine your way. And you're adding. You're living very, very purposeful life. Okay, the CTA today is live from the inside out. Remember where you're living from, your center, right? Stay centered. When your old triggers want to get you, you nip those right in the bud. Those triggers. Those triggers can get a lot less powerful once you're looking at them going, I see you. I know what you want me to do, right? That's self-examination. That's self-awareness. And then breathe it out. Breathe it out. Let it go and say, is it worth my time? Is it worth taking me out of my alignment with the best energy I could be in? Is it worth that? That's a good one. Is it worth that? Is it worth your peace? Is it worth staying in who you really are, but getting out of yourself to be in whatever way you were trained to handle these things all the time? I'm not saying some of it isn't good. That's the way to handle it. But I'm saying, there's growth in there. You can look at it. And once you keep looking in there, you will find that you got a hotel going on in there with stuff that cells that no longer serve you and don't belong, right? Clear the space out. Clear the space out for better intentions, better, higher quality life quotient. Your life quotient gets better because you're thinking about it now. You're not just running on autopilot. You're self-examining, you're watching, you're looking out for the blessings in every day rather than the bullshit. You're not focused on the bullshit. You are focused on blessings. You're focused on seeing where somebody's spreading some light. When somebody gives you a laugh, focus on that stuff. When you see somebody's doing some stuff, you go, oh man, they're just stuck there. Like I said, if you can snap them out of that, help them off of the ledge, absolutely. But if you can't, move on with that good light of yours. It's still spreading, even you're not doing anything. You stay in that center of yours. Your light's just doing its job without you having to do anything but be your beautiful self. It's doing its job. And it's not just doing its job for you, it's doing its job for the world as a whole. Because we are energetic beings, we're like the light bulbs of the world. And when we light that up, you'll see what happens. It's happening. It's happening. All right? And you are part of that new journey of creating something better in your own life and better for the world and your children and people that are going to come after us. Right? They say you plant a tree now knowing that you'll never live to see it fully grown. That's wisdom. That's wisdom because you're sharing light. You're putting life. You're sending light and life into this place, knowing that someone else is going to enjoy it. Your efforts, that little thing that you did. God always sees those things. He says, "Man, love that I created that person." Right? They're just shining, and that's what you're here to do. Okay? Never leave that out. That's your most important job. We talk about it every day. So that's what you're going to do today. Much love, my friends. We shall see you tomorrow.